Hello and welcome to In the Weeds. We're recording live from the Picky Weeds Esoteric Occult Boutique, located just south of Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, in beautiful South Abington Township. Picky Weeds is the largest and most diverse boutique of its kind in Northeast Pennsylvania, with an increasingly wide variety of items for many traditions.
In addition to items for sale, Picky Weeds hosts a wide variety of classes, events, and community-driven gatherings throughout the year. Picky Weeds is located at 105 Layton Road, South Abington Township, PA. Open Wednesday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. More information can be found at www.pickyweeds.com. That's PICKEYWEEDZ.com, or on our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. In the Weeds is the official podcast for Picky Weeds, where we strive to bring the community together with topics of interest, guest speakers, and informative discussions to benefit the entire community.
If you'd like to be a guest speaker, either live or remote call-in, please visit www.pickyweeds.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the page, find In the Weeds podcast guest application, click it, copy and paste the text into an email with your contact information, and send it to us at pickyweeds@gmail.com.
Now let's get in the weeds.
Well, hello, everybody. This is episode 5.
I think so.
Yeah.
Season 2.
In the Weeds. And we've got a special guest here in our series for local NEPA practitioners. We have Corinne from Mettaphysical.
All
right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Thanks for having me.
Are you still doing the Reiki infused products?
Sometimes.
She's not committing.
I'm trying to get away a little bit from that and focusing back on the retreats and the healing.
Yeah.
So before we get too into it, I want to just take a moment and recognize everybody that kind of came to the forefront when we had a, hate-filled, nasty, how else would you describe it?
Underhanded, devious, shithead attack.
Childish, yeah. So, long story short, we had 3 fake reviews posted on Google. The first one was kind of, okay, sure. We kind of know who it was. It was probably a competitor, and that's fine. That's what they do, right?
Yeah.
So the second one came from just what was a pleasant conversation in the store, and telling about the potential toxicity of some minerals and crystals, and somebody went home and wrote just the nastiest review that we were scaring our customers, and that's what we're about. And that's not what we're about. It's just simple precautionary. Look, some minerals can be toxic if they're cut, if they're wet. It's not rocket science. We even linked the scientific article from the IGS, from the International Gemstone Society. Like, look, this is an opinion.
No,
this is fact. This is fact. And then they started changing the review and started doing personal attacks, and the response from our community was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And we talk about love is the law all the time, and we talk about love in general,
community,
how it overcomes hate.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest demonstration I think I've seen in recent years of just absolutely burying the hatred and the nastiness and stupidity.
Absolutely.
And we just wanted to thank you all for rushing in. And it wasn't just like random 5-star reviews. It was, it was stories of over the years, and the impact that maybe the weeds had on your life, and that meant the world to us. Because, some days it gets really tiring. You come in tired, you've had 4 hours of sleep, and you have trauma dump central, and sometimes sometimes it's just but when you get a response like that, all of that became worth it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
and,
it did.
I think it's just really important that we say thank you.
So my impetus to buy an RV and take off to the middle of the
live in a
country
van
and live in a
down by the
van.
river.
That's really a good idea.
Yeah, it was
support it.
It was almost a thing too. It was like, I'm out of here.
So without derailing Corinne's podcast episode anymore, we'll get into that. So welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys make me want to take my shoes off or something.
Take your shoes
I don't know.
off.
You have really cool things going on there, and you have nothing. And it's really cool. I love it.
I have on my mucklucks today.
I have to apologize because I am sick, so it might be. I'm not picking my nose.
No one can see you anyway.
Nobody cares. There. Have a-
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you don't want me sucking on that either.
So you know where we're coming from on that.
I do.
This has probably happened to you too, hasn't it?
It has. It's been a long road for me. I'm very misunderstood sometimes.
Yes.
You know, I don't really come out of my bubble too much to explain myself because I don't feel that there's a need to. But there's a lot of people that just don't understand. And they live in fear. And
They do.
When they live in fear, there's jealousy, there's competitiveness, and it's not good.
No, it's not.
It's not a good way to be.
No.
You know?
We're supposed to be a community. We're supposed to support each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a happy community.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
love
damn
and,
it.
And there's no problems and no worries and everything's sunshine.
Where the hell is our utopia?
Right. I'm
In a van
waiting.
down by the river.
In a van down by the river.
I just
where the
sold
hell
my
it's at.
van too. Otherwise, we'd be down there.
Oh, and your van was
I
so
know,
freaking cute.
Jed. He was so awesome.
Aw.
I did a lot of vending out of him, and he had it. Yeah, he was a good conversation starter.
She had a microbus.
Yes.
Hippie friend of Jesus in her chartreuse.
He's actually right now. He's with a new mom, and she
Aw.
absolutely loves him. So
He was adorable.
all the work that I put into him, he's flying high now.
I bet you cried.
I still cry.
I know. It's
I
hard. I get attached.
I know. It is. It's like such a, it was a lifelong dream of mine to always have a VW bus.
Yes.
And take off around the country. But, at 17, I took off around the country without the bus. So, I lived all that. And then when I finally got it, my son was only, I think he was just turning 2. And I realized, I'm like, this is really not totally practical for a 2-year-old. And we tried the camping thing, and
Yeah.
you could hear him
2 years
wailing
old
across the
camping.
campground.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was rough. So I mean, he was, it was just me and Jed,
Yeah.
and it got a little lonely after that. So he needed adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And they need their own little community, too.
Exactly.
They need that social thing.
Yeah.
And out down the river in a van.
Yeah.
Away from everybody is
I was
probably not it.
But you lived other places, though.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you experienced other cultures
This
and
is
the way
important.
to do things.
I
Yeah.
did. I had a rough life, you know. So when I kind of broke free, I was about 17, and I remember the first time I packed up my car, and I told my family at the time, I said, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
They didn't know where I was going back then. We didn't have cell phones. And I had a paper map.
You're on your
You
own.
know, I was
those.
like, here I
I
go.
miss paper maps.
I'm out of here. So I packed up I had a Suzuki Sidekick at the time. So, I could only fit, 3 boxes in there,
That's awesome.
And I remember driving. I left here in the afternoon, and I made it to Indiana. And I was like, I'm really tired,
Yeah.
The lady at the toll booth is just like, honey, just pull over. And I'm like, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find a hotel. And I realized in that moment in Indiana, you had to be 21 to get a hotel.
Rent a hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm this close. Should I keep going through Illinois? Go through Chicago, get through rush hour? And I did. And I stayed at seedy motels, and I made it all the way into a blizzard.
Oh, my
So
God.
I took after Nebraska, it was just all snow and blizzard and mountain passes, and I ended up in Fraser, Colorado, which was we're 10, 12,000 feet up in the air there, in the mountains. And I stayed there for a little while, and I met some really, really great people. That was the beginning of my journey.
So you didn't even have a destination.
You just
You're like,
went.
I'm out.
I didn't,
love that.
I always loved Colorado, though. There's always a pull, and there still is.
Yeah.
To live in the mountains, to be, kind of away from people.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that lasts. I always say I want to be away from people, but then I'm like, I need people.
Yeah.
I need my community.
It's weird. I'm the same though. I'll go in my hole for months, and it's like this has been an experience.
Yeah.
To not be able to go in my hole.
I know. And one day, when my son's maybe a little bit older, we can do a little bit more talks of moving elsewhere.
He's kind of amazing.
Oh, he's so cool.
I love that kid. Yeah.
He's so cool. Such an old soul.
Yeah, he's a great kid.
He really is. I have a really fantastic video. He won't let me show it to anybody when I was doing Reiki on him, and he jokes about it, but there's times where I'm just like, get up on the table, and he knows right away. He's like, oh, mama.
Uh-oh.
He's like, what are you gonna do?
Why do I need the attitude adjustment?
Exactly. That is his attitude adjustment, but he's amazing. He's the best part of my life.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Because he is incredible. I remember the first
got
time
an
I met
amazing
this
dad
kid.
too. So his dad is really, really hands on with him, and I couldn't ask for a better family connection.
Is really, they're tight. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and I love that y'all are still friends.
Oh my God,
I love it when I see
still
adults.
will always be my best friend. It's the hardest thing that I had to do in my life. We spent 12 years together, and we love each other so much.
Yeah.
But we also know that our lives are taking different turns, and we both needed to grow in different ways. That if we stayed complacent, neither one of us would have that experience.
And you wouldn't be happy.
No,
you'd stagnate.
No, and then that breeds resentment. But I'll tell you, it's such a beautiful dynamic to be able to still, go out and do stuff together as a family and take care of our son together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love grown-ups.
I know. Isn't it fun?
Yeah, that's really rare.
It is rare. It is rare. Yeah. It was the hardest thing in the world for me to even talk to my ex after we split and we had a child in common. And that's the only reason I did talk to him.
Yeah.
And to try not to say anything negative around her.
Yeah.
Because Mom was like, ooh, we did not love each other.
I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of coupling that should never have. It's based out of toxicity and things of that nature. And I can say, it was really amazing that me and Jason were able to grow together.
Yeah.
In so many different ways.
He's cool too. He really is. He really is. He's like. I don't think he meets anybody he can't get along with.
Oh no, he's the nicest person in the world. I know. He's amazing.
So when you were in Colorado, is that where you kind of started learning about practice, or how did you get started?
So I think it's such a loaded question for me because
that's what we
people are always like, when did you start? When did you know that you wanted to be a healer? I never wanted to be a healer.
Yeah.
I never wanted to live this life. It was the life that was given to me.
Yeah.
And since I was a young girl, my mother was killed and I was orphaned at a very young age, around 2 years old.
I'm sorry.
It was something that my family never discussed or talked about. So I kind of grew up not knowing who she was.
Oh, that's hard.
It is hard, but I found she was an amazing artist. So I found her paintings and I found some of her poetry, and just piecing together parts of her poetry, I knew where she was coming from.
Yeah.
And she left behind this letter for me. And it said, "To my child." And she had a painting that depicted the year that she was going to die, the highway where she ended up dying.
Oh, she had seen it.
She saw it in the hourglass running out.
Oh.
And this letter had lessons on it that I continue to learn every year. And it always happens on my birthday. So it was such an amazing gift that, that I was able to have that and kind of piece it together. And my father was a drug addict. He was very incapable. He gave me a lot of abandonment wounds and all sorts of stuff there. So my aunt, my uncle took me in, and I was raised with 4 other siblings.
Yeah.
Which was also tough. We didn't have much growing up, but we had enough.
Yeah.
We lived a good life. I'm also a brain tumor survivor, so at a young age, I also overcame that.
That's
so
awesome.
that was a near-death experience for me to really crawl out of. And, I lost a lot of people around me. So, everything around me was death. The first love of my life. We were together for 3 years. He passed away. A majority of my friends all passed away at a rather young age. And, I lived through a lot of what, my father brought into my life was a lot of negativity, a lot of playing the victim, a lot of self-sabotage, a lot of drug abuse. And for some reason, I always came out on the other side of all of these, trials and tribulations that were just kind of thrown at me. I always dug my way out.
Yeah.
And, I always had this feeling like, there's just something more. There's always something more. But throughout my travels and the people that I would meet and the knowledge that I would gain from, different cultures and different things in my life, I always came back here. And I'm like, well, I think I need to do something with my life.
There's something here that needs to be healed.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there is.
And
that's why
lot.
it's keeping me.
And it seems like that's kind of a common theme amongst people that do what you do.
They heal.
Well, the testing starts early.
It starts so early. And that's what you consider walking through the shaman's gateway, the doorway.
Oh, yeah.
It really prepares you. It prepares you to hold the others around you, to help them grow, to relate to their experiences, and to offer that medicine.
That empathy and that medicine.
And that medicine was huge for me. It's, I look back at it, and there's a lot of times I couldn't look back without tears and crying and pain. And now I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
So
look at
cool, man.
Look at what I did.
Look at this shit.
I lived through that.
It's bizarre. It's
but
wild.
You didn't just live. You flourished through it.
Flourished. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean.
Well, it becomes armor.
Yeah, it does.
It does. It absolutely does. And I mean, it's so funny, though. Like, when we're, I'm 43. So it's like, we have to heal all that stuff from the first part of our life.
Yeah.
Like, at this age. And then we have the other half of our life to be like,
I got this.
Hopefully.
Well, when someone comes to you and they're having, going through something traumatic, like truly traumatic, not like my mom yelled at me traumatic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like actual traumatic events that are life-changing. You lived it.
Yeah.
I
so
lived it.
You understand it.
And you can be comfortable with that pain. And,
I am. I'm very comfortable. I mean, there are some people that come to me from really deep wounding. That still, that makes me take a seat and say, wow.
It is so hard because it's so formative. And some people just get so stuck.
Yeah.
So if you had to give them one piece of advice about looking at the horrors that were foisted upon them and what to do with that in order to grow from it, what do you think that would be?
It's so tough. It's so tough to, I mean, I don't really, the advice comes to me as I sit with them.
Yeah, because you're hearing them.
Because it's so much about silence.
Yeah.
And just being there to truly listen. Because a lot of us don't know how to listen.
Yeah, I know.
And I started to run these talking stick ceremonies because people don't know how to listen. They're asking questions and they're asking the divine, please give me these answers. And they're not sitting to hear the answers or the synchronicities around them. They're already busy asking the next question.
Or they don't want to hear the answer.
Or they don't want to hear it. And they're in that spiral and they're stuck. And my approach is not so soft sometimes. You know?
Good.
I hold people accountable to their shit. And I'm like, no. We're not doing this today. Yeah. This is not what's going to happen. Because I mean, there are times where I probably could be softer. You could ask my friends that. But I'm a Libra, I bring in that justice. And we're going to get it. If you're coming to me, you're healing.
Love it.
You're going to sit with me. We're going to do this shit together.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that's been the hardest lesson in my life.
Yeah.
Don't love them too much.
Yes.
Don't pet them too much. Don't care too much.
You can't coddle them.
Yeah, you can't.
They've
got to grow from it. And if they're in that midst of that, I'm trying to find an excuse for it.
Yeah.
Rather than accept the responsibility for it.
Absolutely.
I think the onus is on us to point it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that makes them come after you really, really bad.
It is. I think that's where I am, very misunderstood in my path. I have a really good, delicate balance between the 3D and the 5D. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go out and I'll dance with the best of them, and I'm having a good time. But, like, I know how to sit and connect.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to teach a lot of people that come my way now is that connection.
So how often do you do that, talking stick ceremonies?
Well, we tried it out once, we should be doing it a little bit more, but I don't have that big open space to kind of host that right now, but we should probably put something in the books for that.
We should, because people need to know that. They need to know how to do that and how to sit with other people's pain and stay quiet long enough to let it resonate.
And be comfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
A lot of people just listen to respond or listen for the...
God.
They're not really listening.
For something to say.
Yeah. I want the next question.
Well, they're uncomfortable with the silence.
Yeah.
They are. I've never seen anything to beat it. You and I can sit in the house for like 8, 9, 10 hours a day and not say a word.
Isn't that beautiful?
Well, she married a video game nerd, so that helps.
And I'm fine staring at the wall. I am. I'm just like...
It's so good. Sometimes we just need to get lost in our thoughts.
Yeah.
I love it.
You got to deal with it.
I love it.
You can't deal with it if you refuse to fucking think about it. Come on.
Yeah, and a lot of people do that.
Yeah,
they bury that shit down and wonder why they're going through every day just pulling their hair out.
Yeah. Why are you choking on it? Because you keep swallowing it.
Yeah.
Spit it out.
I've been working, and there's some people that have been working for 7 years that things are coming out just now.
Yeah. Oh, I believe
it's I always call it like it's peeling back layers of that onion. I don't go in, I don't just do Reiki on people. I do extraction work, you know, so I get real deep down into your fears and your anger, and
it takes time.
It takes so much time. It's not just a one done boom. Of course you're feeling good. You're feeling a lot lighter when you leave because you're leaving that shit with me.
Yeah. Thanks
so
for
much.
dropping it.
So yeah, it's all right. I got this. I'll take care of it. But it's a long life. Nobody ever truly fully heals.
No.
I
think that's the whole purpose is the experience.
Yeah.
And you can't, if you're walking around holier than thou, super guru, you're not experiencing shit.
God complex.
Yeah.
Well, we see so much instant gratification, too.
Yeah,
and
God,
it's especially true in, like, esoteric arts.
Oh, yeah.
I need to spell for this, or I need like they're going to buy a plumbing kit at Ace Hardware. It doesn't work that way all the time. Just give me a spell. I'm like, that's not how this works. This is, how long have you practiced? Who were you learning from?
Yeah.
What do you know?
Or the one that wants the curse.
Yeah.
How long have you practiced?
Yeah.
Do you really know what's adjacent to whatever you do because you're adjacent to it too?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to skip right to grad school stuff and skip
Well, isn't
all
that
the
what our
education.
culture is about right now?
Instant. And they want instant healing.
I'm going to be a master at this and a master at that. And it's like you got to start with baby steps there,
You took an online certification. This is one thing that gripes me. And then you're going out.
The 90-day?
Yeah.
The 90-day ones?
And then you're going out healing somebody when you yourself are unhealed.
Yeah.
And even healers, I don't know, with me, I think that when the healer is feeling it way too intensely, they need to step back and not do it. And I know you take breaks and you turn down clients.
Absolutely.
But I've seen so many that they're like, and maybe it's coming from a place of love and I can't leave them out there hanging and they're scared to leave that person out there hanging.
It's the fear of lack.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I was there before. And I see it with a lot of people, during the beginning of their journey.
Oh yeah.
Because they want the people, they want to create this business, and they and it's when you come into it, it's not a business.
Yeah, you should.
It's really not a business.
Yeah.
And I was striving to really create this big thing for myself. Like when this all happened, you asked like how this first started, and I went into growing into it. But when I came back here, I thought, I worked in the corporate world for like 18 years doing legal work.
Yeah.
Until I started to want, and when I had my son, that's when it, boom, 76 Sanskrit names came to my head and told me to create.
You're like, wait a minute.
I'm like, I don't know what to do with freaking herbs. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And that's where it started. It started with the herbs, and then I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
I got to figure this out.
The plants do talk.
Oh,
and
they talk.
And they're very loud.
They talk.
And when you're pulled,
yep.
Yeah. There's no escaping it.
No. So, like, I created these 76 products and a baby line, and I got into the Reiki, because, like, I don't know, back then I had mentors tugging at me, like, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I was just like, okay.
Fine.
Here I go. Like,
Yeah.
this, I guess, is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I started getting into different wellness centers, and that's where that lack, like, oh my God, I need the clients now. I need people to be interested in what I'm selling, because, like, this is really good for them. Like, I really wanted to educate them. And I found myself in the hospital because I ended up getting pneumonia and a lung infection.
You
and
were stressed.
So stressed out, because we're pouring out. But back then, I didn't know how to replenish that energy.
Right. Where do I pull it from?
Yeah.
It's got to come from somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, this is the one thing that kills me is the amount of people that fail to see that.
Yeah.
If you're healing, you're taking it from something that
Absolutely.
might need it more than the person you're healing. You've got to
Yeah.
kind of learn how to deal with that. And then that leaves you depleted.
Yeah.
And in the last year, oh God, girl, the unhealed healers I've seen,
I know.
then I just feel so bad for
I
them
know.
because
And I'm very open with
Yeah.
my posting on Facebook, and I post to help people laugh a lot of the time.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not really serious, but when it is serious, I really truly mean it from my heart. There's the people that do take that course for 60 days, and then they're out there offering their services when we can all clearly see the trauma, or you personally know the person is. It's hard. It's hard to take that seriously, and it's hard not to feel it as somebody that tries to live authentically.
yeah, it is.
With everything that I do, I'm very transparent. But there's also another side. I could see their pain, and I could see their fear, and I genuinely, I feel really bad for them too.
Oh yeah.
So
it's hard. It's a serious
very hard.
catch-22.
It is.
And I think a lot of the TikTok and a lot of the Google gurus and stuff like that have really made it hard.
Yeah.
Because
the
people,
TikTok shaman.
Yeah. Because people think, oh God, I can just do this, take this online course for 60 days.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know you felt it?
Yeah.
How do you know what you're feeling? How can you discern what's you and what's them? You haven't learned any of that yet.
Exactly.
You need to discern what energy belongs to you and what energy belongs to them, and whether or not you should do anything with it. And that's the other big get right there, because you can do damage.
It's so much damage. And I find it's so much better to find a mentor or a leader that you can sit with.
Oh, yeah.
That you can learn from. Like, I learned so much just going out west, out to Arizona, and leading these retreats. I had to find my own way out there, and the people that I connected with, and the people that I trusted enough to take my people to.
Yeah.
And
that's the hard part right there.
Yeah. And I mean, I had beautiful mentors there. I give a shout out to Yuri, because she was, with me on my journey from the very beginning, since I knocked on her door and we brought in a rush of Northeast Pennsylvania right to her doorstep. She's like, whoa, this is a lot of energy. I'm like, well, welcome.
That's a lot of corn-fed mountain folk.
We're going to cool minds to you, baby. So she really stuck by my side. I did, a priestess initiation retreats with her. And then I met Standing Bear.
Yeah.
And he just lights me up, and we're so connected. When I think of him, I'll probably go home and I'll probably have a text from him or something, because every time I think of him, he's right there.
That's funny.
And the last time that I was in Arizona, it was a very intimate retreat with just my partner, Pete, and one of my clients, my dear friends, my soul sister, Sarah. And it was meant to be designed that way, because I needed to heal on that trip.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot that I needed to go through.
Yeah.
And he had me hold ceremony for these two out at the Rainbow Bridge, and it was just so beautiful. Like, I got to wrap them in cougar furs and deer skin and really participate in the healing ceremony with him. And he's got to be 85 now.
That's awesome.
You know, but
I saw him walking up that trail.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I don't even know if I could do that. At
he
this
just
age.
got a brand new hip. He's like, listen, honey. He's like, I would not go to the hospital, but I had to.
They made it better, stronger.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
better, stronger, faster bear.
Yeah, he's the head medicine man of the bear tribe.
That's awesome. So is that Cherokee, like
Cherokee.
bear meets all those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some
Yeah.
of those folks from this ranch.
He travels all over the world
awesome.
doing psychic surgeries, and
I love that.
his stories are just amazing. And I had a huge experience with him the first time that I journeyed with him. And he, you know, I saw these 3 feathers in these 3 circles, and it was exactly what he experienced. His grandmother told him to draw 3 circles with his toes in the sand, and when he turned around, 3 feathers appeared.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I had that, and when I looked down, I have the tattoo of the 3 circles on my wrist, and I'm like, is it like this, Bear? He's
we were
like,
supposed to meet.
"Yeah, we were supposed to meet." He's like, yeah, we definitely were.
I love that.
Yeah, so the experience of just sitting with somebody and learning from them and their culture and their heart.
Yeah.
Listening.
Yeah.
Goes back to listening.
And everybody
You know?
needs this.
Yeah.
They need that mentor that's been in this
They do.
for a lifetime.
There's a lot of rogues that I went through, but they're my biggest blessings, you know, so to speak, you know, because they led me on the path.
beat you up. They beat you up.
It beat me up, all right. It got me to the point where, you know, for a couple of years there, I'm like, I just had to trust in spirit to show me exactly what I needed. And that's when all these, you know, working with the animal totems came, and all these animals just, I'm like, what do I do with all of you?
I always say the young one will walk away with their feelings hurt. They tend to always come back.
Oh, yeah.
But they always lash out first.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like,
I was
yeah.
a brat about the whole thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, these people are terrible. And I'm like, what? No. They were my biggest blessings, because, like, if I didn't learn that, I would have had to learn it another way.
Yeah. And the only way you can learn it's hard. I figured that out. If it doesn't hurt, you don't retain it.
Girl,
Yeah.
I learned everything the hard way.
I do too.
I love it. I love it.
I'm getting torn up by a dog right now.
She's in rare form this morning.
Something's having a
She's
lean.
so
She's like,
excited.
look at my arm already.
What are you
Girl.
doing, Bella?
Why did everybody stop talking?
If y'all can see the look she just had. Like, what, who, me? No.
I love it.
But I like how Mary Ellen describes it, and she's like, it's not me. She terms it hollow bone.
Yeah, I love
Yes.
Yeah.
Teachability.
Spirit is moving through you. You're basically the conduit.
Yes.
Do you see it that way too, or
Hollow
is it
bone.
different?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's that's teachability.
Yeah.
To me, you know,
Yeah.
you have to empty
have to
yourself
be
out
open.
and have a beginner's mindset for
Yeah.
every single thing that you do. You don't know everything.
No.
And that 90-day course, yeah, maybe that will get you thinking a different way.
Yeah.
But that's not enough to
But
just
that's the
teach somebody
start.
from the UK or you know, somebody that you've never met or you sat with. I'll tell you, I studied and I'm not going to name drop, but a specific shaman that's pretty popular that has cards, and he goes out and he speaks and he talks, and I actually I studied a lot of his books, you know, and I was like, you know, this is really great.
Yeah.
When I had the opportunity to go see him,
Yeah.
it was a whole other story.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Yeah.
to sit with that energy, you know, it's they could put anything that they want out there.
Yeah.
And we're so easy to be like, oh, this
Oh,
is
yeah,
it.
that's beautiful.
This is the end all.
That strikes, that
Yeah.
hits all the marks and
Yeah.
dings all the bells.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yep.
And it's bullshit.
This is it, and this
Yeah.
is the only way, and that's not teachability.
No, it's not.
So what are you going to learn from that? I
Yeah.
learn more from my clients
Yeah.
every day than, you know, anything.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Yeah.
everybody is a different story and a different kind of love and compassion, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's funny that you say that, because I'll have people, they'll want to come see you. I'll give them your information, and they'll go, well, what's she going to do? What's it like? And I'm
Yeah.
like, that kind of depends on you.
Yeah.
It should be different. And if it's not, and you're going and it's the same thing every time, you may have
Yeah.
outgrown that person. You may need to
You
find
plateau.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of healers in this area, you need to know, we're not competition.
No.
If we all came together, we could all support each other.
Absolutely.
You know, we all have different medicine to offer.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and I'll tell people flat out, you know, either you need to go see a therapist and you need to sit with the therapist
Yes.
before you come back and sit with me, or vice versa, you know.
I think a lot of people do need talk therapy.
They do.
I mean,
They
I
need
think
talk
it's one of the
therapy.
best things you can do.
Absolutely.
Because you don't know what you're sitting there
No.
waiting with, that somebody can ask just the right question.
No.
And pry it out.
And it comes in a spiritual sense too, because they could be sitting with me and something spiritual comes up that they really need to talk about, you know, deeper traumas with the therapist.
Absolutely.
And then something might come up really hard in therapy where they really just need the release of, you know, these emotions.
Yeah.
And they need, you know, spirit.
Because this brain is an amazing trapdoor.
Yeah.
Because that stuff gets trapped in there because the brain is doing its best to protect you.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times in spiritual services, and you know this, especially with the sacred medicine, that stuff surfaces and they didn't even have any memory of it until that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
And now you've got to deal with it. You need a professional to help you deal with that.
Absolutely.
Or else you're going to put the barrel in your mouth.
There's
you know?
a lot of integration work
Yeah.
for all of it. You know, we just came back from retreat this past weekend, and I'll tell you, I had the best group,
Aw.
the best group ever.
They were
And
so smiley.
everybody was exactly where they needed to be. And when they journeyed with the earth medicine and you know, they're still integrating. Yeah, I just
The
checked in with
photos
them. They're
were-
still going.
The photos were beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, there's more coming. We had Marky there, so he had his camera and he was on point with some of the touching moments that we've had.
They were glowing, though. It was
yeah.
great. You could see
Yeah.
they really had an experience. Because
Yeah.
they were freaking glowing in that one shot where you guys were all together.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well,
yes,
that was-
somebody did something right this
Yeah,
weekend.
that was the end of the retreat too, and I'll tell you, I've had a lot of negative experiences on retreats because
yeah.
I was trying to figure it out, you know, and sometimes my you know, the people that I'm surrounded with, a lot of them are friends too. So so separating the hey. You know,
That's
this
hard.
is
Yeah.
what we're going to be doing to like, hey, buddy, you want to go like rent a quad and go through the desert, you know?
Or getting them to separate from one another when they
Yeah.
really need to work on themselves.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
clinging. They bought a buddy so they'd have somebody to cling to. And that's
Yeah.
the last thing they need to be doing.
Yeah.
Or they're clinging to you because they know you.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't be in that role right now.
Or they don't really look at me as you know, the healer leading the retreat, you know, and I really had to step into that and be like, whoa, we need to set some boundaries here. But this group was amazing, and you're right, not a lot of people know what to expect when they come see me, or some people shy away from it, and eventually they come back around. But it's deep healing. It's deep healing work, and it's about a reset, you know. Like, we started our retreat off with a beautiful wolf moon breath work cacao ceremony, you know, opening our hearts and really diving deep into our emotions. And that was a really profound experience for a lot of people that never did breath work before.
Yeah.
You know, we really...
Breath work's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Oh
I
my
love
God.
those physical releases in your body, and you just realize all that trauma and pain and emotion just stuck in your body.
And I use it a lot for people. I watch them having an anxiety attack. I'm like, put your tongue in the roof of your mouth right now.
Yes.
In, hold, count, out, count. Yeah.
I love
And
that you do that.
And you just watch them go, oh, thank you.
And it helps connect that third eye to that sacral, so that, you know, they're more in touch with that third eye.
You got something to think about. You got to think about keeping that tongue in the back of the teeth. You got to think about that breath holding that count and the chest rise and the filling the diaphragm and the...
Yeah. And I'm so big on, like, just I really go in there with, you know, keep going, keep breathing, because, like, you really, you'll do yourself a disservice if you stop breathing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right? She'll pass out.
And I'm like, you guys could stop, but I mean, like, it's really not going to do anything.
Yeah,
for you.
not at all.
No.
It's too funny.
And I love what you said about beginner mindset.
Yeah.
Keeping that beginner mindset.
Yeah.
Because
Be
so
open.
many people want to have the expert mindset.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I find you don't learn when you're in that mindset.
No, you close that mind right up. Yeah.
You know, oh,
You
I know
do.
what I'm doing. Well,
Yeah.
even if you've been doing it for years, the next day you might have a new person come by with new
It's so
experiences.
different.
And you're like, well, I'm all over again. You know, you're starting all
Exactly.
over. You know,
Yeah.
and even you
Yeah.
as the guide
Yep.
are, you know, picking up things like that. And that's amazing to hear.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's definitely. I mean, spirit will sit you right on your ass real quick.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's
God.
you know, some people will ask me. They're like, "Well, what did you see? What did you feel?" And I'm like, "I only get what spirit gives me.
Yeah.
Whether it's visions, whether it's something very intimate with, you know, your loved one,
Yeah.
whether it's something that's sitting inside your body. If there's, you know,
And sometimes
parasites
it's not
that
meant
you-
for us to see it. It's
Yeah.
meant for them to experience it. And
Exactly.
they don't get that. They're
Yeah.
hoping that it was this romantic
Right.
Hollywood experience of we saw somebody standing over them with their arms wrapped around. That
Yeah.
doesn't always happen. It rarely happens. That
Yeah.
isn't almost never.
Yep.
Do I see that on somebody? And then they'll walk up to you and go, "Do you see anybody around me?"
yeah, yeah. It's
No.
spirit will shut me right down to where
Yeah.
I won't see or feel
Yeah.
anything when the person just needs the energy itself.
Yeah.
And I used to get mad, and I used to be like, "Fuck you guys!" You know, like I should be feeling something right now,
They're
and
leaving
it's
me
really
hanging.
not.
They know what they're doing.
No, they
You
do.
need to be facilitating that person. You're
Yeah.
not facilitating for you, and they kind of get it, and it kind of gets us because then people question. It's not an ability, people. This is not Harry Potter.
Exactly.
You
That's
know?
not how it works.
We're here to
That's so true.
facilitate your journey.
Yeah.
You know, to help you find yourself. It's not about us.
And
Yeah.
no one can do it for you. You have
Yeah.
to do the work.
That's what the
Yeah.
first thing that I tell everybody that lays on my table. I said, I'm here to help, and I'm holding the space for you.
Yeah.
But you have to be ready to heal.
Yeah.
You have to be ready to do the work, and I will give you homework.
Yeah.
You're not leaving my table without
Yeah.
homework.
Something to work on.
And I'll start small. You know, sometimes you get something bigger than what I could really explain. So you know, you just have to work it in baby steps.
Yeah.
You know, we're never done healing.
So specifically, homework.
Yeah.
What do you generally see people need the most to go home and work on?
So a lot of people are living in fear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fear right now.
Of
So-
everything.
So everything has been shifting, and I'll tell you, I saw the dynamic since, you know, the pandemic to now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, it's awful.
And the regressions.
Yeah.
So the fear that has been surfacing on people, I never really quite understood this, but, you know, your knees are hubs. They're hubs to different portals. You have so much energy residing in the masculine and feminine knees.
Yeah.
And for me, spirit shows me a lot that when that fear is activated, you know, they start regressing these past lives that are coming through, that I started seeing all this stuff. And I'm like, how does this serve this person to tell
Yeah.
them, you know, what their past life was?
Yeah.
And who am I
Yeah.
to tell you what your past life was? I have
Yeah.
to find a deeper meaning to it.
Thank you.
You
Yeah.
know, so what it became was, you know, first me starting like to talk to them and tell them like, this is what I'm seeing, to, all right, here's where the fear's at. Okay. So what kind of toxic pattern and karmic cycle are you reliving right now?
Right.
Where are we going? Where you're on this treadmill, you're not getting off of it. Okay. What are you saying? Oh, I've been here before. I've done this before.
Yeah.
You know, so we really start to dig a little bit deeper into those
Yeah.
fears, right?
Like, why are you still doing it?
Right.
Yeah.
So in the beginning of the pandemic, it was both men and women that were regressing. Now, the past 2 years, it's been strictly women, and it's
Yeah.
been on their left knee, and it's been tied to their womb, just holding so much fear in there. It's a crazy cycle as we shift, you
It
know.
is.
Now Pluto's in Aquarius. Last time this has happened is the American Revolution.
Yeah.
And we're headed into all this, you know, structure collapsing and everything unfolding. It's stirring up a lot within our
yeah.
bodies. The collective is just projecting, and each one of us is, you know, we're opening all these different wounds within us.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so like it's.
I don't think they realize the damage that does either. That the things that they're projecting, that comes to fruition, that manifests. E equals MC squared. You can't get away from it.
No.
Let's think about what you're putting out there, because that becomes mass.
Absolutely.
Mass becomes forward movement, and a body in motion stays in motion.
Absolutely.
So you can't stop the train. So we need to start thinking about how we're thinking and how we're facing these things and what kind of fear we're taking in and putting out there.
Yep.
Because we're causing the problem.
Yeah. Well, it's what you see. You know, what you still have people watching TV and the news. Like, what's that going to do? We got to live our lives.
It's programming.
It
Literally
is
It's
programming.
programming. And I mean,
They're
that's
brainwashing you.
one thing that I try to sit with people and tell them, you know, we have to change this to the positive. You know, that starts with you every morning and how you're speaking to yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, and we have to start wiggling our way out of this fear of what we're hearing, what we're seeing, who we're surrounding ourselves with.
Yeah. Stop getting up in the morning with that worry. That was my biggest thing.
Yeah.
What is today going to be like? You don't know. Today is today. Be grateful that you're here.
Yeah.
Move forward.
Like today's gonna suck. I gotta
Yeah,
do this.
yeah,
Well,
it's
let's find the
awful, yeah.
positive. What are we
Yeah.
gonna learn?
Yeah.
You know, how's this gonna? It makes me laugh because I play the Snoop Dogg positive affirmation song for my son. He absolutely hates it. He's like, "Mama, shut that off," and I'm like,
I love it.
"Yeah." So me and Jason sing that to him in the
Love
morning.
Snoop.
Yeah, it's the best affirmation song. I suggest everybody download the Snoop affirmation song.
I'm definitely checking that out.
So cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. You'll be every morning. You know, just
Have you
look at
seen him
yourself
where he
in the morning.
narrates the animals?
Yep.
No, it's so awesome.
It's like wild critters out, you know, that snake,
Yeah.
snake and the whatever, the gopher, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So,
it's
the
hilarious.
mongoose, the snake and the mongoose.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so badly need that on my phone, like as a ringtone or something.
Well, we were going to get the Samuel L. Jackson
I want
ad
that.
on for the Alexa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you can go, what time is it? I'll tell you what time, motherfucker.
I love that. I love that. There's often I take his commentary in his voice when I'm reading the Clark Summit Township.
No! Oh, that's funny.
And talk about community, guys.
Oh,
if you're
my
from
God.
Clark Summit, please, you know. We need more love.
I know.
We need more love. No more
people
about the
are
notch.
ugly
No
to
more
each
about
other.
the yeah.
Oh.
We just need some better things happening in this community
Yes.
other than, you know.
You can really tell people that have lived in one place their whole life.
You
Yes.
can.
Yes.
Or
This is how they act.
They never travel. And
Yep.
their
Yeah.
idea of travel is going to Hershey.
Yeah.
They take offense,
You know.
to everything.
Every little thing.
Because there's so much inside of them that
It's a
There's a small
threat to their
town.
bubble
Yeah,
wall.
yeah.
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
out there and actually immerse yourself in
Who
another
was it
culture.
that said it's travel is an antidote,
Twain.
Mark Twain, to bigotry and
Racism.
Yeah, racism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of my faves.
Yeah, I love him to
Everyone's the moon. Everyone is
Oh,
a moon.
I love that.
Yeah.
I never noticed
Everybody
that before.
has the light and the dark aspects of life, you know.
Absolutely. Embrace both.
We have to.
Stop one or the other. It's
Yeah.
toxic if you go either way too far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, the love and lighters.
Stay there. Love and light.
Oh,
Blessed be with you.
they can get really toxic and they don't realize. I know they mean well,
They do mean well.
but you're
It's-
making people
it's-
depressed and you're making them kill themselves. So please stop.
Yeah. We have to speak about the dark more.
Yeah.
You know, the dark aspects because that's our dark passenger,
I say that all the time.
right?
You sparked my dark passenger. I need to go
Passenger.
home now.
Yeah. need to
Before I
inflict
get
that
out
anger
the
into
roll of
ceremony.
plastic in the tank.
You see me in Home Depot line,
Yeah.
10 rolls of plastic.
You know he's on a buying trip for me.
Anything for you, dear.
I love you too, honey.
Yeah, that's shadow work. That's I get that a lot too.
But see, I love that. I love that people don't understand too that you live in that shadow, and that's what makes you the light. You
Yes.
live and embrace that child that you've beaten to death. I mean, you've literally beaten that kid to death. Instead of it, try loving on it a little bit.
That's
It is
it.
what got you here.
That is
The
it.
only reason you're alive.
Yeah, that is it. I tell the first thing that I usually feel with people is trying to lead them back to the little person inside. Let's
Yeah.
go back to that first memory.
Yeah. What does
You
that
know?
baby want?
What
Yep.
would you just neglect that baby? Would you walk away from that baby, or do you want to get down and you want to hug him? Do you want to take him for a walk?
I want to play in the dirt.
Yeah. You know, and it's a good practice to remind yourself of that every day. You know, we're so hard on ourselves because society makes it that way.
Yeah.
We're in a time right now that's just so uncertain, and you know, people are barely living.
Yeah. They're barely able to.
I think that's why you see them grasping for the easy and the happy.
Yeah.
And they don't want to face the other because they see the other every day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
It's so ugly out
It's
here
a way
anymore.
to disassociate. It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We got a lot of work.
We do. We do. We do have a lot of work.
But I think this place needs it. I really do.
We do. I'm a strong believer that this area, Pennsylvania in particular, is there's a lot of low frequenzes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I believe it's from all these open coal mine pits.
I do too, and I've heard that many, many times.
Yeah.
That the anthracite is holding holding the emotion and the negativity.
Absolutely.
Because it's a sponge.
All the deaths too. Look at the mine disasters that happened.
Terrible.
Stavish just showed a sign that I can't remember the dates, but
in Wilkes-Barre.
Early 1900s, when 92 miners were killed and 60 plus injured, and I'm sure that's not the only one.
Yeah, and think about how many of those were children too.
Yeah, they're not crossed over. They're not at peace.
No,
their souls are still very much in that turmoil and And why
wouldn't they be? It hasn't stopped.
No.
And there's still people dying from that the world around it. It's like we were talking about green energy and electric cars, and I'm like, have you seen what it takes to mine that cobalt? And they're telling you it's being mined ethically, but they're sending whole groups of people down in there, and they're doing this by hand, and they're paying them per piece, and so it's like a rat race. It's like a slave trade with competition. Against one another, so they're kind of going at each other.
Perspective comes into it too. Is like people that get into this space and think, "Oh, it's quick money. I'm just going to make money off of people." It's the same with like the electric cars. They try pushing those everywhere. Hey, we're all for saving the environment, but let's look at it holistically. You're doing more damage, and you don't have the infrastructure to support it.
Right. And the batteries are so nasty.
That's great. You gave us a tax credit.
Yeah,
but when
there's
the car doesn't run in the winter because it's 10 below zero and the battery's like, nope.
And then you can't put it out. Even firemen are like, that thing just has to burn itself out.
Heard horror stories about that.
It's a bomb. You're riding in a bomb.
I mean, I want it. I do. I really want to go there, but it's not ready yet.
No, and we're still so far behind. It's not funny.
And
unfortunately,
the companies are the same. The companies are the same as the people. They just want a quick cash in. Yeah. Oh, look, it's a trend.
Yeah,
just like
let's jump on it.
Spirituality is trending again.
So
Yeah, you see it.
there's I stopped teaching a long time ago for that reason.
Yeah.
My judgment was a little off on some that I have taught, and
we've been there.
Yeah, honey, that happens.
And it's everybody wants. Well, I want to do what you do.
Exactly.
I want to do what you do. Well, I don't know how to tell you how to do what I do.
Because I'm just going. I'm just feeling it.
I'm just here doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. There's no way to teach that.
No, there's no way. And it's not, trust me, if I could do it for free, I would do it for free.
Yeah.
But we have to make money.
Yeah.
And there has to be an exchange. I don't even care if you can't pay the full balance of something. There has to be an exchange.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, there's people that I'll take on my retreats that I'll do barter work with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything that you want to do, I'd rather bring back the barter system.
Yeah.
As long as there is a connection of help between us.
Yes,
there
has to be.
Yes.
If you don't, it's
and
not
it needs
worth
to be
anything.
balanced.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I've come to the conclusion that sometimes it's not always balanced.
Yeah.
And
it always annoys me when they say something about how much somebody charges, and you and I have talked about this too. I'm like, do you know that person's giving you an hour and a half to 2 hours of their energy and their full attention?
Yeah.
And how much would you pay for therapy? How much did you pay for Starbucks for the last week?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it's you're paying for that person's life of knowledge and wisdom and the people that I had to go learn from, my mentors and the people that I sat with and that I had to pay. And
you're keeping a mentor, and that's what they don't see.
Right.
You're keeping one in your life. Most people think they've outgrown that. You have never outgrown that. You always need a mentor, somebody that you can look up to.
You do.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I'm actually going to see one of my teachers that I haven't seen since I did a year-long shamanic study with. His name's Angel Deer. Oh. And so I'm actually going up and letting him work on my energy after this last retreat. And I'm pretty excited about that because it's been a long time since I had somebody who could work on me.
Yeah.
You know,
I was going to ask you that. Who do you turn to?
Yeah. Well, most of the time I turn to my partner because he is absolutely amazing and he does know how to shift my energy like that.
This one does that for me too.
Yes. Yeah. So he is absolutely wonderful when it comes to that. He has got a lot of good healing energy.
And he's been through a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he has.
So he gets
He is a warrior, true and true.
Yeah. Well, you guys led the best drum circle we've ever had.
Oh,
it was
thank
incredible.
you.
I mean, look, like it's not even in the same category as anything else. The whole store was just...
The vibration was just up, wasn't it?
It was beautiful.
It was good.
It was so great to see the smiles, too, and see the people coming out that had come in kind of apprehensive, like, how are we going to get how's it going to go? And they were nervous to drum, and then they were like, oh, that was great!
This was amazing!
It was incredible. And I don't say that lightly. Like, it really, truly was.
He led this retreat with me for the first time. He usually does breath work, events with me. But this one, he helped lead, and I'll tell you, it was fire.
Yeah.
You know, he is definitely that sacred masculine counterpart.
We have that
duality.
The duality.
The duality of spirit.
Yeah.
You know.
He's absolutely amazing.
I'm in your head. Would you shut it? It's a little drafty in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it was definitely really good. In that drum circle, I'll tell you that some people that have never drummed before and just said, this is the most joy that I've experienced in so long. And I'm like, I love that. We'll keep doing it. So, they're reaching out to me. And
people don't realize how sacred that is.
It is.
We've been doing that for centuries and centuries and centuries because of our connectedness there. And it's like you're drumming into the heartbeat of the mother.
Yeah.
And it's resonating all the way from your toes, all the way out the top of your head. And it's just this coolest freaking
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And my partner, Pete, he when we met, that's kind of how we started talking, was about drum circles, because I was leading, what I could here, trying to get the community together. And he was doing it in upstate New York in Calhoun. And I went to his last drum circle that he had before he moved down here, and it was amazing. Probably the second best, closest to Asheville's drum circle.
I love Asheville.
I mean, going into Asheville, you want to throw up and cry at the same time.
You do.
Yeah,
you do.
And we actually were able to play in that this year, which was amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love the old grandmas and grandpas that get out there and they drum and they dance and they bring their tambourines or their, what are the tingshas. I love that.
It's so cool. Now talk about community.
Oh, yeah.
There's no shame at all. Everybody's a black, nobody's looking at you. Everybody's like bringing you in and trying to drag you in. It's so awesome.
So you got the homeless guys coming in and we just embracing everybody, they're playing the railings with their sticks and everybody's just feeling good and
raising the vibe.
Love it.
I love how it just starts organically there too. You'll be out shopping, you'll be walking around, you'll be looking for the beer cart. Did you see the pedal cart? You'll be looking for the beer cart and all of a sudden you'll hear somebody start drumming and then you'll notice there's like 10 or 15 more and then you'll go in the store and you'll come out and there's like 150 people out there and you're like, oh my God.
It was
it's so crazy. I love that
amazing
place. See, we could have that. We could have nice things.
Yes, we could have nice things.
So we're actually talking about that, making this a bigger to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the property to actually put it together.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about taking it downtown.
Yeah, I would. Just everybody walk around, start drumming, find a place to sit.
We need to get, Lackawanna County on board. I got to start talking to my brother-in-law. He's the county commissioner down there now, and it actually helped set it up.
Yeah.
You know, give us a space where we could do it at First Friday or whatever they do down there.
Yeah.
You know, and let's drum.
That would be awesome.
There's a lot more people down there that don't hear of
Every
events or don't
community
follow
park
anything.
should have it.
Yeah.
Every community park should have it.
Absolutely.
People should be able to go into that park and sit down and drum, and then everybody else get the feeling of what that's like in Asheville.
Yeah.
That it's not organized at all. It just happens.
We
it's-
need it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
I think that would be beautiful.
I do too.
Yeah.
Manifestation.
I can
So
see
what's
it.
next on the plate? What do you got coming up?
What do I have coming up? I have another Earth Medicine retreat in June.
Yes.
At the same place by the PA Grand Canyon.
So beautiful.
This is it's designed for people to really go a lot deeper.
Yeah.
A lot deeper.
Because it's out there.
Oh, it's out there. It's out there. This is a deep immersion of 3 ceremonies. And we're going to do that. That'll be our next one. Hopefully before that, though, we're going to go back to Asheville because there's some loose ends down there that I'm kind of curating into fruition.
Yeah. Are you
So,
going to
yeah.
set something up in my favorite national forest?
I might be.
I knew you'd get addicted to this, guy.
I tell you what.
I knew. That's where I went.
Every magical place in this country that I've been at and that I want to do something at, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
See?
And I'm going to take you there, and
that.
but first I got to learn about all the stuff,
Yeah.
you know. And then we're
I may
heading.
have to close down and go to Pisgah.
You come with us.
Yeah.
You're gonna
girl, I have to take you to the watersheds.
please.
So it's amazing.
The
The things
I'll be
that
bringing
you'll-
back all the
things
fairies.
that you'll hear there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
The
spirits
voices
and
in that forest.
Oh, she
are
knows every hiding
incredible.
hole in those mountains.
Yeah.
We went up some back track back in the woods. I'm like, I want to run into a moonshine still. She's like, there's a waterfall up here. Come on. I'm
There's
like,
some serious spirits up in those
Yeah,
mountains.
they
and
are.
crazy hillbillies flying down mountain roads at 100 miles an hour
Oh dear.
with no brakes.
Now that's crazy. I didn't experience that one, but I did bring some fairies home with me.
We love them though.
Well, the logging trucks don't use brakes.
Oh,
So if you're over Highway 55, a few miles away from there, it's quite a little ways away from there, and you look down the side of the road, down in the valley, you'll see trucks and yeah, it's
well,
bad.
now
It's
I
bad.
know.
Yeah,
That's why it's so pretty.
yeah. The
It's
flood
deadly
makes
as
the
shit.
grass grow. That's all.
You know, everything in nature that's beautiful is usually
Well,
deadly.
iron is really good for your plants. Potassium, calcium, iron. It's got
So-
We need it all.
yeah.
So then we're headed back to Sedona in October
Sedona.
Very cool.
for the Hunter's Moon.
That's awesome.
And so this is going to be a really special trip back out.
I wonder if she knows Janice and Russell.
No.
They live out there. They have a place.
I love them.
yes,
Sedona,
She
yeah.
came to
Yeah.
one of my
Love them so much.
full moon.
Yeah, they're great people. I love
Yes.
them. Yeah.
She's like, oh my goodness. She's like, I live in Sedona.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a lot to talk about.
They live right back here, and then they've got a house out in
Yeah.
Sedona. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two of our
So
favorite people.
super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but this is like a full circle for me, like this next retreat in Sedona, because my mentor moved away, so we're not going to be doing retreats with her. I'm going to be leading all of it.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not going to be introducing them to, I'm going to be taking the full reins on everything out there.
That's crazy.
As far as, just showing them the sacred sites and doing breath work, cacao, rapé, we're going to do earth medicine.
Yeah,
you
earth
know?
medicine.
And hopefully this one, we'll have to pick a good spot because when the last time I did earth medicine out there, it was in a vortex and it wasn't on a lunar eclipse. Hello. 3 days later, I emerged. But I'll tell you.
It was cray.
It was cray. I did one out there where I worked on fear, and I did a journey in 5 hours out of ceremony.
Oh.
I climbed Bell Rock.
Oh, God, girl.
I'm very afraid of heights.
Yeah.
And my legs were shaking the whole way up there, and I'm like, woo! I made it to the top.
You did it though.
I did it. I conquered so much out there, and that's, what I'm hoping for this next group in October to experience, because, some people got out my last retreats. There was a lot of distractions. There was a lot of disorganization. it's together now.
Yeah.
The shit's together.
Yeah, well, you learn. I mean, you learn.
Yeah. Well, I also know to be a lot more discerning about who I'm bringing on retreats.
Yeah.
I find that a lot of men unleash out there if there's a lot of toxicity within them. Sedona's going to show you, man. You know, either you're welcome or you're not.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that I could do at that point but to hold the space for you because it's wild.
Yeah.
And it's wild. Some of
A
the
lot of work
stories.
been
You know
done
some of
there.
the stories.
Oh, God,
Jesus.
Oh, God, yeah.
You could have your own podcast just on that.
I could, that would be like episode 12 already.
Oh my God. Yeah, and it just happens. I think too, people don't know what to expect when you're hit with that kind of energy.
They don't.
And they just go off the rails.
They think it's all good energy
Yeah,
out there.
it's not.
That's where people go to dump their shit, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell people, don't walk in that medicine circle unless you know what the fuck you're doing because you're going to be walking right back out with all this No.
And there's a lot of death out there.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the thing that gripes me with the you know, the do no harm, love and light and all that stuff is because nature is tooth and claw.
Yeah.
And that's what you're dealing with when you're out in nature. And that's the whole point of dealing with it and becoming a part of it and realizing that you too are tooth and claw.
Yeah.
And everything that's beautiful in nature is deadly.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And I think they forget that. And I think
They
that's
do.
beautiful. And it reminds us of our impermanence
It does.
as a human body here. You know, so I think you need to kind of take the lesson that it's a very short time you got to enjoy it.
I know.
And a very short time you got to learn. But
That's crazy.
yeah, they let it overwhelm them and go off the rails.
It's like Ozzy Osbourne playing in the background. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Buckle up, guys.
Dun-dun.
Bring a helmet.
There was quite a few crazy trains. I'll tell you. I love you. If any of you are listening, I mean, you're my teacher.
Yes.
Two.
Have mercy.
Oh, for God's
We'll
sake.
come back around. We'll be friends again one day.
That's awesome.
It's all
That's
good.
awesome.
So where do you have a Facebook site, Mettaphysical?
I do. I have a Facebook site. I'm kind of doing a little bit rebranding now. I'm moving, finally coming out of my shell. And I went back, from the wellness centers. I realized that's not my place in the world, practicing out of my home. And it was fine when I had the studio space separate from my home. But now I'm back in the place where I first started.
Yeah.
And you have to walk through my home. And I love all you guys, but I don't want you in my goddamn house.
Right?
So, not all the time,
I don't think that's too much to expect.
No.
But
All that clearing she has to do afterwards.
yeah, it's a lot of clearing, but I'm more concerned for my partner and my son.
Yeah.
They don't need. I don't need
Yeah.
to be working on my son every single day because of all this energy that
Home needs
is.
to be sanctuary.
And he strikes
Sanctuary.
me as very empathic. The little
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
And,
he
yeah.
sucks in
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
That poor thing. He's Gemini too with a
he's-
Capricorn moon.
Aw.
God bless him.
He's a big love too, and that's it's gonna be hard on him
It
because he
is.
just wants to help it.
He does.
Yeah.
He wants to help everybody, and he is yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hard.
So
That's hard, Mama.
Yeah, it is. It's a hard one. We struggle with this right now at 8 years old. But
You got a studio you're working on now
yes. So I actually
on Holgate.
yeah. I just walked 2 steps outside of my door. I've known Burl, who used to own the smoke shop, since I was a little kid, and I used to go in there all the time. And I always said, even when I lived down on Holgate Street, I said I'm going to work in there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have a studio space in there. And, I don't know. It's
it happened.
happening.
Yeah, yeah.
And not that, it's just one room and one bathroom, but it's
all you need.
away from my home.
Yeah,
So, with that being said, I'm getting back out into the public. I stopped vending for a long time, but the public needs me now,
yeah,
and I need them.
yeah,
So, I got to start doing stuff.
yeah. You do.
Unfortunately. As much as I want to hide in my home.
Oh, yeah.
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 No, I totally get that.
No, I gotta get out and I gotta do stuff. So rebranding, and once that happens, I'll still be the same website, different logo,
You're
different
doing
things.
Total logo change.
Total
too.
logo.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm stepping away. It came in waves and all that.
So it's not going to be fine, Reiki infused goods anymore.
It's just metaphysical.
Metaphysical. I like
Meta,
that.
METTA, loving kindness.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
You
that.
know.
Yeah.
So that's what it will always be for me, because that was the very first thing that ever came to me, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing, is sharing that love and kindness.
Yep.
You know, and maybe some kicks in the ass every now and then.
That's part of love too. You think about it. It's part of love.
It is. It is. Putting out that hard love.
I either love you that way, or I put you out in society and they don't love you at all, and they teach you harshly.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
it's an important lesson.
People liking what they hear, they should definitely look up Corinne on Meta.
Yeah.
Mettaphysical.
Yeah. And if you're interested in one of those retreats, you hear nothing but awesome things about it.
Yeah. It's
everybody
amazing.
Loves it. Yeah, I hear it all the time. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We made it about an hour and 10 minutes in here.
Woo-wee!
So it was good. And thank you. Thank you, everybody that listened. And you have anything else?
No, just thank you. Thank you for listening and putting up with me.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I love it.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode of In the Weeds, and we hope you didn't have to pick too much pucker brush off your cloak after visiting with us here. If you liked the episode, please follow, subscribe, and share. And if you're really kind, leave a positive review. Be sure to tune in next week as we publish a new episode weekly. If you're in the area, stop by the store and see us. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.